Hey guys, welcome to Crush This a Monster Truck podcast. It's Dan Chichegosh, and right now I'm actually on the road to Sacramento, California, getting ready for some Monster Jam. We had the weekend off, and we had hang out with Brad the week beforehand, but we got this episode going on here too. I want to thank High Octane Coffee, J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics, Justin Stories. Man, Hall Brothers Racing, MTRC, Back Channel Productions, and 6B Apparel. Thank you for all you guys have done. We're going to do some ads here too, and thank everyone for doing that. Once again, guys, if you haven't had a chance, go see Justin Story's book. It's Making Tracks. Pretty cool kind of comic book type deal. And for you kids and stuff like that, it's $10 a pop through Justin Stories or Amazon.com. And it's also, I believe, in audio form too. But once again, guys, thank you. Our Monster Jam season right now has been kind of crazy. We were in Salt Lake City, Utah for week 1, then Tacoma, Washington for 5 shows. So it was pretty intense, but we got everything going on here. But this episode is pretty cool. We're going to learn a little bit about this, awesome guy. And Deron Mcbee, actor, stuntman. For you Monster Truck fans, he played the role of the Equalizer character in the show Monster Wars in 1993. 93, 94, whenever the show was on UPN or the WB and stuff like that. But hear his side of it. It's pretty cool. And hopefully let you fans learn about that. And the cool thing is also he did American Gladiators and also started Mortal Kombat Annihilation too. So some cool stuff going on there. But we'll get our intro in and have Deron on in a little bit. So here we go.
This isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichegosh. Buckle in. The show starts now.
I heard the intro really good. But I did not hear. I can't hear you now.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, there we go. We had our little intro going on there, and I had you in the back lot. But Deron, how you doing, man? Nice to have you on and just hear the chat.
Yeah, hey, thank you so much for having me on, man. That intro blew my mind, man. That was awesome, dude. Oh my gosh. I got so pumped watching that. That's amazing. Just amazing.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm feeling fired up tonight, man. I'm ready to go, buddy.
That's so cool. Let's talk about it, because actually for me as a little kid, I knew you as Malibu from American Gladiator.
Right.
And I want to reach the talk about, we'll talk about what we got you here for, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we were talking off the screen about you studied a lot of martial arts, and were you always did you always want to be an actor? Was the action back that, like the action movies, the Stallones, the Schwarzeneggers, the Jean-Claude Van Damme, was that what you idolized and wanted to do? Was acting what you wanted to do?
Well, first of those guys weren't even on the scene when I was growing up. Actually, I was a huge fan of the Adam West Batman in the '60s. He was like my hero. So I remember being in school when I was about 8 years old, and kids would be asked like, "What do you want to do for a living when you grow up?" And Johnny would say, "I want to be a doctor," and Susie would say, "A veterinarian," or somebody be a cowboy or whatever. And the teacher asked me, "What you want to do, Darren?" I said, "I want to be Batman." And she goes, "Well, you can't be Batman." I said, "Sure, I can be Batman. I want to be Batman." So I think it's been in my blood my whole life. I was thinking about that today. And the cool thing about it is that throughout my career, I've done some pretty amazing things. But I think one thing was really neat is I was actually in two of the major big Batman movies in the '90s, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. So, dreams can come true if you're a young man. I'm a firm believer in, seeing your dream and following your dream.
So you took the like I said earlier, you had also a history of the martial arts, like I said.
Right.
What got you intrigued about that?
Well, definitely Bruce Lee, of course. I mean, who wasn't inspired by Bruce Lee? And I was a really skinny kid in high school, believe it or not. I got picked on, and it used to drive me crazy, and it was embarrassing, and I was very, very insecure. So I watched Bruce Lee, and I thought, man, I want to be like Bruce Lee. So I started taking wushu kung fu when I was 13 years old, and from there it went to boxing. Really, when I saw Rocky, when Rocky came out, man, I went nuts. I go, okay, that's who I want to be. I want to be like Rocky. So I started hitting the speed bag, and so I was learning a little bit of boxing, and then after that, Kempo karate, and I just kind of went to some jujitsu and a little bit gravitated to each martial arts, and that was because if I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to learn how to fight for camera correctly. And so fighting in real life and fighting for camera are two totally different things. And one of my good friends is actually Chuck Norris. He's brought me in several of his productions, and I met him at a Christian, kind of like a martial arts convention that I was working at. And then he and I became friends, and he had me on a guest starring on Walker, Texas Ranger about 3 weeks later. And then we became buddies. I actually, one of the few people that can say that I was Chuck Norris's bodyguard. How cool is that? But as I was telling you earlier, I learned to fight for camera. So in front of the camera, I can fight like an animal. I'm just a wild man, like a Tasmanian devil. I look really good. I'm really fast. But in real life, in a street fight, I probably couldn't fight my way out of a wet paper bag. It's all for show and no for go. But I learned a lot. It really helped me with my self-confidence. And of course, the weight training came into a big factor because I was so skinny. I always wanted to build myself up. So also Rocky, again, I saw him. He's kind of buffed out. And there you are. I just, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, I go, that's it. I'm hitting the gym. So that's kind of how the inception was of my whole martial arts working out thing.
So you did that. And then how did the process of the American Gladiator segment came about in your career?
So yeah, that's a really, really interesting question because I was sitting on a life cycle, and the guy sitting next to me said, "Hey, Darren, there's something that looks really cool." It was in an acting trade paper called Variety. I think it was no Backstage. And so he says, "Listen, there's a concept show called American Gladiators, and they're looking for a guy that describes you," because I had really long hair at the time. And so he said, "You're looking for a surfer type guy, and you look like you might be right for the part. You're athletic." So I went down and I did a tryout, and I just smoked the tryout. I mean, I just was really, really good. I did an excellent job. And then they had me for an oral interview because they said, "This is going to be your character. Your character is going to be named Domino." And I said, "Domino?" I said, "I'm not a pizza delivery guy." I said, "How about you call me Malibu?" And they started cracking up. And so I just put on this whole surfer, mentality. It's like, "Whoa, dude, I'm so stoked to be here, man. I'm going to crush it when I get on the American Gladiators." And these guys were just cracking up and having a great time with me. And that's kind of how it happened. And also at the exact same time, literally about 2 weeks before, I booked the Conan the Barbarian show at Universal Studios. So I was being Conan during the night, and then I'd be Malibu during the day on the lower lot of Universal Studios filming. So it was like living a dream, man. It was amazing, just amazing.
So I'm always was curious, how did you guys get picked to do the challenges against these contestants on American Gladiators? Or was it, you said, I'll do that one, or, I like this one better, I'll do that one. How did that go against the contestants?
Right. Yeah. So I think it was kind of arbitrary. I think they kind of picked for us, but obviously some of us were better at certain games than others. I was really, really good at the wall. Like I was undefeated climbing the wall, which is you get this big wall. It's like a wall with these little cups on them, suction cups or whatever. You climb up there and you try and jerk the competitor down. I was really, really good at that. And there's one where we'd shoot tennis balls at people, and I was kind of a dead shot from that, so I did good. But I was terrible in this one called the Conquer Ring, where it was a wrestling ring, and I've got super long legs, and I don't know if I've ever won in the Conquer Ring. It'd be like someone would get down, grab me by the legs, and just throw me out of the ring. So I was good at some, and I was stinky at some of the other ones. But it was pretty much what the producer's choice was. I think as the season went on, they started putting the gladiators in the events that were best crafted for their talent.
Man, that's so cool. And then, so with the season goes on, did they always try, like, you're part of the original part of the group, and then was it your decision to go, I'm done with this, or did they always say they try to put fresh faces?
Yeah, no, so it was, it's a good question. Really what happened was there was this gentleman who was a producer, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he just always had something against me because I was like a happy-go-lucky guy in the show. I didn't really care if I won or lose, really. I mean, of course I competed, but my whole thing was, this is entertainment. This is sports entertainment. This isn't pro football. This isn't pro basketball or hockey. This is sports entertainment, and people are here to be entertained. Now, all the other gladiators were going full bore to win because there's a lot of ego involved with those people, which there's nothing wrong with that. But me, I was just having a great time. And one thing about that just really resonated with the fans. The fans absolutely loved my crazy, happy-go-lucky character. It was like, here's Malibu. He just loves hanging out with the beach, having some brews and hanging with the babes. And, of course, I never drank a beer in my life, but that was just a little spiel. But, yeah, the other gladiators went full bore, and this guy who was a producer just decided he didn't like me. So he fired me off the first season, and the rest of the producers got so upset with him, they fired him the next season. And I actually came back. We did a live tour that started in Maine, and I went from Maine. I was supposed to go from Maine all the way down to California, and in Hershey, Pennsylvania, I tore my bicep on this game called Hang Tough. It was like swinging from ring to ring to ring, catching the contenders. And anyway, so I tore my bicep, which is one of the most painful injuries I've ever had. But I continued to stay on the tour for another couple of weeks. And then I got auditioned for a really great Fruit of the Loom underwear commercial where I got to play Samson. And so I went out, auditioned, and they loved me. And so I booked this amazing commercial in New York. And so I walked away from the Gladiators very happy to pursue my acting and my commercial career. And then again, I came back again when they had a Gladiators Live. It's kind of like a dinner theater. You've heard of Medieval Times. It's kind of like that, where gladiators performed against contenders, and it'd be a dinner theater. People would eat their food and, cheer for their favorite gladiator or contender. And so I spent a month up in Kissimmee, Florida, and had a ball up there. And, kind of the rest is kind of history. And what's really cool is, if I might mention, that ESPN just finished a massive documentary. It's kind of like a Where Are They Now documentary for the American Gladiators. And I was one of the featured guys that they filmed throughout the whole thing. So that should be coming out in the next couple of months. Be looking for it. It's ESPN, 30 for 30, retrospective on the American Gladiators. So be looking for that. I'm super excited about that.
Hear about that first, folks. 30 for 30 on ESPN.
That's the first. Yep.
So
you guys are first to know. I haven't told anybody else yet. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. So, you're kind of like, the way I was thinking about your timeline right now, for me, in the 90s, you were always active. You're always doing something. So
yeah,
I'm going to pick your brain on the topic that's here. How did it come about to become a monster truck character? Of something that obviously has to take talent, because if someone said you got to figure out Your name of the truck is Equalizer, and
Right.
you have to act like the particular machine, and
Right.
like that gotta be picking your brain, because you're kind of like, entering a room without a flashlight, because you have to figure something out with this character. So let's talk about that. How did you get into that scenario?
Yeah, so cutting out. Hi, I'm back again.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I was fortunate to get a call to do this thing. I've always been a monster truck fan. I just think they're just so wickedly cool. And they wanted me to play this kind of all-American Equalizer guy. And I'm like, yeah, that's right up my alley. And so I kind of dove into my inner, wrestler persona. And I would think, monster trucks are big, they're bad, they got these, big whole pipes are loud. And so I just wanted to go over the top, with it and have a really super, super fun time with it. And it was great, man. I mean, I think the concept was good. We had a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed my time on the show.
So you, with that program too, because it kind of reminded me of as if Captain America was a wrestler, how you kind of portrayed it. And but kind of halfway in the season, somehow or some way, it just switched to saying you want to be a rock star, or playing the guitar, and and then you have all these babes next to you. Why was the sudden? What do you remember? Why the sudden change from like Captain America to like Van Halen?
I just, that's funny you saw that. I was kind of thinking, all right, a lot of times these monster trucks kind of morph into different things, and I just thought, if this guy's Captain America, what's his alter ego? What does he really want to be? And every squeaky clean guy, wants to be a rock star, So I thought, hey, I've got long hair underneath this helmet. I'm going to let it flow. Just going to wear this crazy, glam rock stuff, and just have the babes around. And so they loved the idea, and we took the ball, so to speak, and ran with it. And that was kind of along the theme. There was a thing, and I'm trying to think the name of it. I think it was called Car Wars, but my character was called Bad Axe, Badaxe. And so I played a rock star in that thing, and that was supposed to be huge. I mean, we had big car explosions with different guys playing different car characters, the same kind of concept. It was awesome. I mean, we went out and we had the producers of the show telling us that we're going to have dolls made out of us and all these really cool things, and it's going to be the biggest show on TV. And so, of course, we're all excited. And for some reason, the people that were manufacturing the toy line and the people that were buying it, with the money people, were arguing, which happens so many times. Corporate greed gets involved in things, and they just shut the whole thing down out of nowhere. So it was just one of those great opportunities that got lost because of corporate greed.
So when you, I'm still for the fans and stuff like that, when you did your stuff, your vignettes, I guess, about, saying, hey, Gravedigger, I'm here to stomp you down, and, talking, your shoots or your stuff like that. But were you by yourself, or was the rest of the guys in the same room, and then they just, edit, or not edit, but, do the scene and go from there, right?
Right. Everybody lined up and did their own their promos, as we call it. So I wasn't literally looking at Gravedigger. They had me give an eye line. He was in the room, but I would do and cut my promo, and then a Gravedigger would come up and he cut his promo, and so forth and so on. So that's kind of how they shot it, because once they light for a certain look, it takes forever to switch lighting around. So basically what they need to do is just set that lighting up and just gun people through as fast as possible, because there's a lot of retakes and redos, and, say it this way, try it that way. So it ended up taking, I think 12 hours for all of us to just finish cutting our promos.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you guys were in front of a green screen for different sections and stuff like that. It was starting to, they had a toy line going on for that group, and the different characters were just following through. Did you guys have to do like a little tour or anything like that? Did you guys go to the monster truck shows and stuff like that too, just to see fans and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
it was kind of strange because again, once again, we started having the producer say, "Yeah, you're going to do this and that and the other thing and toys and I don't know what happened with that, but it's kind of fell through. It was super fun to do, and we all had a great time, and we're all totally all for it. But no, I just think they all kind of pooped out, and I thought it would have been great, and it's still, I think even these days, if they bring something like that back, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, with today's trucks like El Toro Loco and
Oh
still
yeah,
Gravedigger and all them and
oh,
stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, hopefully the character. Well, you probably could have done it, but hopefully the characters back then would have done a backflip just like the trucks do.
Oh man, it's amazing watching what those trucks can do now. I mean, those, what do they call them, sky wheelies or something? Those are so cool. I mean, it's awesome. Those things are just awesome.
Yeah, the nose wheelies and stuff like
Nose
that.
wheelies, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool, very cool.
Man, that's so cool that it sucked it only happened for one season. But
Yeah,
I mean, it tore all around the country and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool that talk about the character itself and like you said, the 12-hour days. So it got to have been hot inside that equalizer suit.
oh yeah, yeah. It got hot. It got real hot. I mean, you kind of get used to it. You gotta, in between takes, if you get an hour break or something, get out of that suit as fast as possible because we'd all be sweating like crazy. Well, not all of us. Gravedigger didn't really have a hot suit, but some of us had costumes that were a little warm. But we're all so happy to be on a TV show.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard as an actor get on any TV show. So if you book anything, you're just so happy you deal with, whatever the pain or trial you have to go through. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're on TV.
And I believe also you had one character I remember, the Carolina Crusher. That guy was in the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone with the arm wrestling about the big rig. And that was pretty cool to see and stuff like that. And
really, he was a really cool guy, by the way. I mean, he played this big beast of a guy, but he's really, really nice, man. I mean, a lot of those big guys usually are. But yeah, I had a great time with him. He's a super cool guy.
Do you normally get people coming by and saying, "Hey, what's up, Malibu?" Or I saw you at that monster truck thing. Do you get that?
Yeah, it's funny. Well, I'll tell you, literally just the other day, I was in a float for the Hollywood Christmas parade. About around Thanksgiving time, a little after Thanksgiving. Anyways, just preparing for that, we were getting some supplies from a Walmart. And some guy who makes these really cool, like Muppet types of creatures just goes, "Hey, you're Malibu." And I'm going, "Yeah, that's me." He goes, "Oh, dude, what's up?" And so we became Facebook buddies. And yeah, that happens. I mean, it's still amazing to me how many fans are still so loyal. I've had people send me the most amazing fan art, coffee cups, T-shirts with my likeness on it. And I've sent out a lot of pictures to people all over the world. I just sent a couple pictures out to somebody out in Poland. So, it's amazing to me. And I think when this ESPN documentary comes out again, it's going to be, or not again for the first time, but when it comes out, it's going to really ramp up the notoriety. And so I'll be able to be busy doing meet and greets and, speaking engagements and things like that. And I'm super excited about that.
Now we're going to go through another movie, which for me personally, I was a very good fan of. I played the video games. I was hooked on it when my babysitter had it on the Sega Genesis, Mortal Kombat. The movie came out, the original movie came out in 1994-95 and it was a huge hit, especially how it finished compared to Jean-Claude Van Damme's Street Fighter. And then they made Annihilation, which was, I think, 97-98.
It was 90,
you starred in as one of the fighting characters that was in later on, I think, was in Mortal Kombat 3 or 4 and the Capcom, the Acclaim and Capcom series and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, were you always when you first got the gig to become one of the characters in Mortal Kombat? How was that for you?
Oh, it was a dream. I mean, it was to be in one of the biggest franchises in the world, Mortal Kombat, and then to play. Literally, I was the #1 villain out there playing Motaro. I mean, my character was at that time the first CGI a character that literally mixed CGI with live action and tried to do it seamlessly. That was the first time. So now, of course, what they're doing is amazing compared to that. But back then, it was absolutely amazing. And my character, we figured out for every minute I was on screen, it cost $1 million because of the computer stuff and everything. So to me, that was a huge blessing. I mean, just an amazing blessing. I had auditioned for it 5 times. And again, my martial arts, obviously, my background helped a lot, of course. And I think what really got the job for me as compared to other guys that might have been bigger than me was the fact that I was a really decent actor. So that put it over the top because they obviously wanted this guy to be able to, throw down lines and be able to be a decent, spokesperson. So it turned out great, man. It's been really good. I've been to a couple Comic-Cons and things. So it's been truly, truly a blessing.
So, I mean, yeah, especially since the first movie, Goro was animatronic and still, it was, you could tell he was kind of like, how is this guy going to fight when the video game, he's pretty eligible. So
right.
I understand how the scenario that you got yourself into, because they need the big guy, the fast moving stuff like that for this new film, which you said, again, you go to those Comic-Cons and stuff like that. So, you probably get a mixture of both worlds at these Comic-Cons, being Malibu and then you're being a character from Mortal Kombat. You're having so much of this stuff going on. I know it's a sad time too. Last about a month or so ago, the lossing of Jason Frank. He was an idol of mine when watching the Power Rangers and stuff like that. And and I'm transitioning this too because you told me beforehand you speak and then you help people out and all sorts of stuff, and your journey is pretty awesome because not like a lot of people that do a lot of Hollywood stuff really go to the dark end and they can't come back and no matter help and stuff like that. But it's the way I'm reading about you is you found the light. So how did you, I mean, I'm obviously, I got a feeling the Lord above, God himself probably put his hand on you to help you out. But how did you get yourself, strong and, get yourself into a art or a I can't say job, but a profession where some places could be very dark.
Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me. You're cutting out a little bit.
Sorry.
So, okay, here we go again. So the whole thing with that, I got to say, since I was 13 years old, I've been a Christian, and I'm not a Christian that just, I'm a Christian. They go out and act like crazy people. No, I really consider myself a follower of Christ, and not that I never try and ram my religious beliefs down to anybody's throat, but I've been preaching and teaching the Word of God for the last 25 years. Literally, I travel around the country sharing my faith. I've been involved in groups that are called strength ministries, called the Power Team and Team Impact, where we do these crazy feats of strength, like ripping phone books and exploding bricks with our elbows and all these crazy feats. Yeah, so I was one of those guys for 15 years, and truly, when you become a servant of God, Jesus Christ was the biggest servant of all time. And so if you're truly going to follow that faith, that you've got to be a servant, and there's no place for egos. So to me, every time I got an amazing job or booked an amazing commercial, it was like, thank you, God. It really had nothing to do with me. I just believe they were good gifts. Now, of course, I trained very hard in the gym and I studied very hard. But at the end of the day, I still owe everything I have and all my success and blessings to God. And so I realized to me that that's what has kept me humble, so to speak, whereas a lot of people, when they get caught up and they start thinking, hey, it's all about me, then they start getting ego tripping and all that stuff, and their life becomes miserable. But truly, I've been doing this for, the ministry for almost, like I said, 25 years, and I just incorporate my ministry and my Christianity into everything I do, which means I try and always help people. I try to always love on people and be a servant. I also have been a drug and alcohol counselor now for about the last 5 years, and that's been super rewarding. And so I do that to help people also. So it's been a blessing. I've had a really kind of amazing life. I've had some really terrible tragedies that happened as well. But again, I just thank God for getting me through everything.
So like you do all those stuff, and also like you said, you do the Comic-Cons. How many of those do you do a year?
I've done probably, I'm guessing maybe 6. The last one I did at Comic-Con, I was did it for Mortal Kombat, and then it kind of died down. I injured my hip really bad, actually crushed my hip, and had to have hip surgery to replace it. And the first time, after about a month, it got an infection that was systemic that almost killed me. So I was out for almost 2 years. Unfortunately, during that time, I became addicted to painkillers, which was a horrible, horrible time in my life. I mean, doctors will tell you, I never, before I ever, got addicted to stuff, I never smoked a cigarette. I never drank a beer. I never smoked pot, didn't do any drugs at all, ever. Of all the times I've been injured, and never touched it. And so when this doctor was telling me, hey, try this new OxyContin stuff, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. And he goes, listen, you won't be addicted. So how do you know? And he said, well, because you never have before. Well, he just wanted to sell me product. And so unfortunately, I did get very addicted to it. And I made a decision because it was ruining my life and the life of my 2 daughters that I raised by myself after my wife passed away. It was ruining our lives. So I just sat down and prayed. I said, God, you know what? You can get me through this. I'll go to rehab and I'll clean myself out, and I will be a spokesperson for you and against drugs for the rest of my life. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am right now.
Man, and then you're, like you said, that, like you said before, man, that really got me going when you said about the power team. Because when I was in middle school and high school, I didn't know if there was multiple group power teams, but I remember the colors were purple and yellow. And
that's Team Impact. That was actually Team Impact.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
No, because Team Impact were all power team guys. They just kind of branched off from the power team. So you're right, basically. They were power team guys.
Okay.
I actually worked for the power team and Team Impact, and actually Team Impact was the most fun. And if you want, remind me, I'll send you a picture of me breaking 700 pounds of ice with a double forearm, and I'm breaking a 500-pound slabs of ice with a sidekick. So both in that garb. So just remind me. I'll shoot it out to you.
I remember that. I remember a wood breaking, and then I remember one guy with the phone book try to rip the phone book with his hands too. A couple other guys are pretty good at basketball because I remember we did a lot at basketball courts or some of the churches that we visit. They would have a teen activity room where it could be a carpet floor, but it's a basketball court and kids can play basketball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And still, I mean, that I didn't know that's news to me because I remember when I was a little kid, I saw that stuff and it was pretty cool to see that, the impact and stuff like that you guys had done.
Yeah. It was really inspirational, and it was very inspirational for me too, because these guys were really good men. I mean, quality men that loved their wives. They went to church. They didn't do drugs, but they were really happy with their lives. They were very centered. And that's quite different than what I was used to seeing when I was in Hollywood, because, being in Hollywood, you see a whole different side of people. You see wildlife partying, people sleeping around, drugs, etc. And then you move to a situation where these guys are literally, they love their wife, they're faithful, they're strong as oxen. Most of them were ex-pro football players, much stronger than me, doing these amazing feats of strength. What put me over is because I could do the flashy martial arts stuff. So, where I couldn't make up for strength, I made up for speed and, did most of the feats. But of course, when it came to lifting logs and, bench pressing 225 pounds 25 times, that wasn't me. But I had a ball. It was a wonderful time.
And you said you also did Batman Forever, Batman and Robin.
Yep.
You were also a stunt double. How did you get yourself into that situation, and how did you always get your body prepared for some of the stuff that you're going to put yourself into?
Yeah, so you can just train and get to be the best shape you can be. But for instance, I stunt doubled Sting, the pro wrestler, for a PlayStation commercial. I stunt doubled Triple H for a World Wrestling Federation promo where I did a horse fall for him. And the one I did for Sting, I literally got thrown. I threw myself through it, but it was one of those huge storefront windows made out of pure glass, and I was basically wearing his wrestling singlet. And I had to go through it. And of course, right before I hit the glass, they put charges in all the corners of the windows and then blew the glass before I hit it. But still, when you're going through that glass, that's shattered glass. So I came off with about 30 cuts all over my body. I sliced a piece of my arm up that probably needed stitches, but I never got it stitched up. Nothing happened. I did Triple H. I stunt doubled a guy named Ralph Mueller in a Conan TV show in Mexico. And so, yeah, I actually, my first stunt doubling job was someone I didn't look like at all, but I stunt doubled Hulk Hogan in a car commercial. And I was, driving a stunt car, and it was like way, 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 way long shots. So they could have put anybody in the car, but basically I need somebody with kind of long hair. But so anyways, yeah, that's kind of how I did it. And I really didn't get hurt too bad. In Batman and Robin, though, there was a stunt where a stuntman was jumping through a big window, and we had to have a pad for him when he hit the ground. The window was about 12 feet up in the air, and we had to make sure that if he landed on the pad. And part of the window sill broke and hit me between the eyes and put a puncture in between my eyes above my forehead about the size of just a pencil eraser. But that bled like crazy. It was like nuts. And my mom was a hairstylist, and she worked on a bunch of big movies with Tom Cruise and stuff. And just happened to be that day she was working with me on Batman, and the call goes out that a stuntman's been injured. And there's like 15, 20 of us, and she's going, "No, Surly, it can't be my son." And so she comes out, and there I am. I got blood all over my face, running on my face. And my mom's running to me, and she's going, "Oh, Sonny," called me Sonny, right in front of all these stunt guys. I'm going, "Mom." So for the rest of the time, all the guys are going, "Hey, Sonny, how are you?" So weird things like that happen. But I really wasn't injured too bad.
So, I mean, let's talk about the Batman films, because, that's another popular franchise, still going today, still kicking butt, taking names. When you had the opportunity to do the first Batman film, I mean, did you have to go ahead and, meet different times with these people, or did you basically say, "Hey, sign me up, I'm ready to do this"?
Right. In Batman Forever, we actually met with Val Kilmer because I did a fight scene in the very first movie of Batman Forever. If you want to see who I am, there's an elevator scene there, and all these guys fight Batman in the elevator, and then there's one guy at the very end who jumps in. It's just a one-on-one shot, and it's me. I come running down the hallway with these two spikes coming out of my gloves, and I'm going to spear him through. And at the last second, he jumps out of the way and grabs me before I fall down this elevator shaft and throws me into another guy. But it was a great, really, really great scene. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just something I, get prepared for as the best you can. You just do what you can to get ready and prepare yourself mentally and emotionally and focus. You got to always be focused when you're doing stunts.
So then how did you get word about Batman and Robin?
So Joel Schumacher, who passed away, was a big director. He did a movie called The Lost Boys. You might remember The Lost Boys, and a bunch of other movies. And I met him when he was doing this movie called Falling Down with Michael Douglas. And I went into his trailer. He saw my reel, and he hired me straight away for Falling Down. So he put me in his movie Falling Down. If you want to see me, it's hilarious. They pretty much cut my whole scene out, but at the very end of the movie, you'll see me standing on the end of a pier in a pink Speedo. So the deal was that there was a car commercial being filmed supposedly, and I was holding up this Kia car, and these 4 beautiful babes are on each side of me, and Robert Duvall comes running by, and he screws the scene up, and I'm going, "Hey man, what are you doing, man? Blah blah blah." So anyways, they cut that whole scene out, but there I am at the end of that movie in my pink Speedos. You can't miss it. So, and then from there, he asked me to come on in Batman and Robin because he directed that. And then he also directed, he asked me to be on Batman Forever. And then after that, he asked me to come on in Batman and Robin. So that's how I booked those 3 movies.
Oh man, that's pretty cool. And then so, like you said, you do you help out with people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol and stuff like that to help them out. Is that what you're currently doing, or what your projects are doing right now? What's your projects?
So I'm still doing the drug alcohol counseling. I'm still doing ministry. I go and I speak to men's groups and still doing my preaching. That's what I've been doing. I just worked on a little movie for Disney. It was kind of like a trailer. They're trying to pitch a new idea for Disney. I can't really talk about that, but I shot that. That was a lot of fun. And then, of course, this ESPN documentary is going to be huge. So that's kind of relight the candle under my career. But again, I'm just coming back literally in the last year and a half from that hip surgery. And then what happened was I got such a horrible infection from the first hip surgery that they had to go in and do surgery again. They had to take out all the metal, all the titanium, put the new hip in, and then replace it with, tons. They packed it with tons of antibiotics. And for the next 5 months, I was seeing a wound care specialist that was pumping me through antibiotic after antibiotic, all these different antibiotics. Some of them were so expensive, they were worth their weight in gold, literally. And they were doing it to save my life, because had that infection gotten any worse, I could have lost my leg, or I could have died, or I would have made it. That's exactly what the doctor, infectious disease doctor, told me. He said, Deron, you got 1 of 3 things going to happen. You're going to lose your leg, you're going to die, you're going to be okay. And he told me that just very matter-of-factly in his office. And to be honest with you, I started to weep. I started to cry and scream, crying about it. I go, dude, you just basically told me I got a 2 out of 3 chance of really crappy stuff happening to me. It took me a while to process that, but by the grace of God, I was healed, and I've been feeling 100% better. I'm back in the gym right now to get back in shape, and there's a lot of neat stuff on the horizon. So I'm just excited to see what the future is going to bring.
Any thing on social media people can follow you at?
Just you can get a hold of me on Facebook. That's about the only thing. I'm going to start actually selling my art. So if you friend me on Facebook, you're going to start seeing my art pop up. It's really cool. Most of it's fantasy art. I do some musicians and things, but it's really wild. I use super bright colors, and it's really fun. But yeah, people need to get a hold of me if you're having any kind of issue with drug addiction and you're hurting and you need to talk. You have questions your faith as far as your Christian faith is, or you want to ask me, any question. If you want to, if you don't believe God and you want to ask questions, great. This is what I do, and I'm here to take on anything as long as people are polite and as long as they sincerely want to know an answer to a question. I want to help, and I want to be there for people. So that's what I do. They can get a hold of me on Facebook. I'll friend them, and we'll go from there.
Man, thank you so much, Deron, for your time and everything like that, man. Once again, thank you again, and see you down the road.
Hey, man, thank you so much, and I'm glad we finally got together, right? I mean, it was amazing. So you're a great guy, and remind us of pictures, and everybody, God bless you. Have a great New Year. Stay healthy. Stay away from fentanyl. It's killing people. It's horrible. Please don't use it. God bless you guys. Bye.
Bye. Man, that was cool. Deron Mcbee. That's awesome. And we learned a little bit about the Equalizer. So all you Monster War fans, go ahead and take a look at that stuff. But next couple weeks will be some recorded episodes again. Brad helped out on Tuesday. Thank you very much, Brad. So the next couple weeks, he's probably gonna be off. I'm going to do a lot of live, not live, but look, this person I'm interviewing is probably gonna be next to me, so we'll go from there. And man, once again, thank you to High Octane Coffee. Joey Sylvester's down in Florida right now, wearing the American Scout hoodie. Brad designed that too. JB Scale Graphics is now doing some helmet stuff, so gonna take a look at the helmet here this weekend and go from there. But Man, and J Concepts. I'm doing a little bit of a side project, taking my time. Be on the lookout for that too. Guys, thank you so much. And also go to our spreadshop.com site, get some t-shirts, help the podcast out, help us out with what you guys need to do. And then we also got a new sponsor. Will be coming in our next episode here, Mark Warner. He's an announcer, monster truck announcer, which you can hear him at the Monster Trucks of Destruction shows. First one will be Madison, Wisconsin, I believe, in February. So go take a look at that. Also, Hall Brothers Racing. Thank you guys. Thank you for everyone that has helped us out. Justin Stories, like I said, go take a look at his comic books and stuff like that. But once again, guys, thank you. Go to 6B2, contact me or Brad, and get yourself a hoodie or a crew shirt. $100 a pop. And it's the same exact material, same exact stuff as you see the Monster Jam guys do or the Independents have. So the race ready material. So once again, guys, thank you so much. I'm Dan Chichegosh, Brad Shaw. Once again, he says, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. Peace.